Getting separate lawyers. When does it make sense? And let's dig a little bit deeper in this. There comes a time where you may want to get separate lawyers, and we're talking about business owners, partners, boards of directors, other places. A lot of times, a company or a business can use one lawyer. That's very common. But at some point, maybe the interests start to diverge. Maybe the partners are getting ready for a buyout. One partner is going to buy out the other. Maybe we're going through a transition of business. Maybe board members have different personal interests that are causing a conflict, and it's becoming apparent that personal interests or other business interests or things are starting to influence decisions. These are all times where it points towards getting a separate lawyer. So, in general, the lawyer can represent multiple parties if there is an alignment. Now, a lot of times in the corporate context, the lawyer's not even representing the multiple parties. They're representing the business, not the owners, not the directors, right? They're representing the business as a total, and then the directors and the officers interact with the business. But sometimes there becomes a contention. Maybe an officer is exiting, and there needs to be a separate lawyer to help that officer exit. Maybe there's a conflict of interest within the board. These types of issues can point towards bringing in a separate lawyer. So the good rule is this: if everybody's in alignment and your lawyer has discussed this issue with you and you're comfortable that everybody's getting the same advice and there's no separation as far as interests and what might be best for one owner, one director, one member versus the other, you're probably okay. But if you start getting to the point where it becomes clear that everybody's got a different interest and people aren't working together, they're working against each other, they're working across from each other, that's a great time to bring in separate lawyers. I personally think it's a good idea a lot of times. We all have personal interests in business. And so a lot of times it does make sense to bring in separate counsel because the alignment can break. It's awkward, and I know a lot of people try to avoid it for that reason. It's also costly. But the cost of not getting it right can be very expensive. It can be very inconvenient if you don't get this right. So get the right lawyer, get the right advice, and build your team from the inside out. If you have questions or comments, go ahead and drop them below. Hope you choose to subscribe to the channel. When you're leaving your questions and comments, keep them very general because other people can see your comments. So don't put anything confidential. For confidential communications, reach out to an attorney of your choosing. Keep your comments here limited to very general things or perhaps videos you might like us to record in the future about business and business law. Thanks for tuning in today, folks. Look forward to seeing you for another video soon.